Hi, I'm Yinka, and this is The Hurt Locker, a podcast where we open a door into men's mental health. Come and go.
What's in your hurt locker?
So I've seen a lot of things. And experienced a lot of things because in my 54 years on the planet, 30 odd years.
Whoa.
Oh, this loaded question number 15. Right, okay.
It's a bit like a super tanker. The time it takes to turn,
Yes.
it's slower than what we age. You're listening to The Hurt Locker, the podcast that opens the door on men's mental health. And tonight's guest, we have Daniel Inniss. Daniel, welcome to The Hurt Locker.
Hello, Yinka. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this.
You're welcome. How's your day been today?
It's been quiet today. It's the calm before the storm. A lot of gigs towards the back end of the month, and then a lot going into April, May, and June. So it's just nice to have a quiet day, really.
It is indeed. For the benefit of people who don't know you, and I'm sure there's not that many, who is Daniel Inniss?
Daniel Inniss, that's me. I am a comedian, promoter, MC. Like to call myself a bit of an Andrew Flintoff, an all-rounder. So, doing a lot of things at the moment. I have several nights in Sheffield and South Yorkshire, but I also gig up and down the country. Still love being on the stage, still love gigging with some of the best, and enjoy all aspects of it.
Cool. I have one direct question to ask you. I don't usually do any little research, and I did a little Google of Daniel Inniss, comedian, and you know what? It said this page is blocked. How come?
I haven't a clue. That's not my doing, Yinka. I'm going to get onto that because...
Get onto that. And I've tried that several times there, so I don't know if there's something risque that you put up.
I know that Meta had put something up about me, saying about my comedy, my nights, so on and so forth, and how to actually come to some of the nights. And that was very much a Meta thing. So I don't know what's gone on there, in all honesty, but I will look into it.
Please do, please. I'm curious now. Maybe Tim will find out what that video was that the blocked.
I'll check just in case there's a visit to a certain island, but
it was blocked, certainly.
I'll get the lawyers' boys and don't worry about that.
Okay, so I'm getting a nice vibe, a nice energy off you. So tell me a little bit about you.
Well, I was born and raised in Huddersfield, West Yorkshire. Asian parents, so my parentage is from Barbados. Okay. My heritage, I should say. And then I moved to Sheffield about 18, 19, 20 years ago, something like 20 years ago. I moved to South Yorkshire to Sheffield. Lived in Barnsley for a little bit, so I cut my apprenticeship of being a South Yorkshire geezer in Barnsley, and then obviously moved to Sheffield as well after that. And absolutely love South Yorkshire and absolutely love the city of Sheffield as well.
So what is it about South Sheffield that's appealed to you? Because I'll just be direct here. Most black people would go rather south than go up north and all of that, so...
Well, for one, the people in the Steel City and in South Yorkshire in general are genuine. I've been embraced, I've been loved, I've been taken the mickey out of because I'm a Huddersfield Town fan as well. Okay. So I have no allegiance to the Owls or the Blades, so I'm sort of neutral in that respect. But moving down here, I've just been embraced. It's such a lovely place, and I think the warmth of Yorkshire folk it never surprises me. As a Yorkshireman myself, I don't think I'd ever move away from Yorkshire.
Interesting. Do you think it's partly because people are direct, people are straight?
I think so. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Yinka. I think the directness and the actual love that you get from people who respect you if you respect them is so open-ended. It really is. There's no hidden agenda I've found with Yorkshire folk in general. And as I said, if you respect them, you get all the love and respect back. And I think that's one of the key aspects of Northerners in general, not just Yorkshire.
I agree. Let me just dive in now because we can come back out and we can go back in again. Mm-hmm. What's in your hurt locker?
Well, it's just all about happiness and maintaining happiness and spreading joy. For me, I think that once that is given out, you should receive it back, law of averages. And I also love the fact that if I can help anybody in any way, shape, or form, and I have the ability to do so, then it's a given that I will do that.
I'm pausing just to frame this question then. Is this from a position of lived experiences?
It is. It is. I mean, before getting into comedy and then doing it full time, I'd had a wide and varied career in commercial business. So I've seen a lot of things. And experienced a lot of things, because in my 54 years on the planet, 30 odd years.
Whoa. I like the way you just dropped that in. What did you say then? 54 years.
54 years on the planet. I'll be 55 in July. Thank you. Appreciate that. So
I'm just I'm gonna have to light a little candle for that one, lad. Yeah.
Let me go over that again, Yinka. I like that. So I've experienced a lot of things, and I think when you have been on the planet long enough and you've had that kind of life experience, it's important to try and give back wherever you can, and hopefully stop people from making some of the mistakes that you've made.
Let's go back to the beginning then. What was growing up like for you?
Really good, Yinka. Really good. I was very, very privileged to have loving parents and a loving sister, and an extended family as well. When I say extended families, I'm on about aunties, uncles, cousins. Very, very close. My parents were first generation West Indians that came over. And as you can appreciate, anyone that knows their history, they experienced a lot of hardship and a lot of tough times being here in the UK to start with. And I think they made it easier, not just my parents, but I think that first generation of Asians that came over from South Asia, from the subcontinent, and from the West Indies, all made it easier for the second and third generation. So my upbringing was really good. I went to some really great schools, comprehensive schools. I'm a state school guy. And where I grew up in Huddersfield, a lot of really good friends that I've still got strong ties and bonds with now, which have stood the test of time. So I have no complaints in the sense of that, Yinka.
What were the hardships you experienced though?
I think, like most people of colour, I think there were times where opportunities weren't as forthcoming as maybe they are now. And I think it was a case of you had to actually prove yourself probably twice as hard as some of my peer age group. And that gives you a resilience, that gives you a resolve that you can actually move forward with as well. So in a lot of ways, it probably was a blessing in disguise. But I also have to say that I was grateful to a lot of people of all colours, of all creeds, of all religions. And as I said, those bonds still hold very firmly now.
It's interesting. You just made me think of something. When we talk about race, I remember working in a restaurant on the Albert Dock called What's Cooking. The manager was a young guy at the time, 21. I must have been about, 17, 18. And the manager was a young guy called Guy. That was his name.
Right.
And I never forget this, what he said to me. He said, the only thing that's going to get in your way is the color of your skin, if you'd allow it to.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, I then encountered my own experiences of discrimination, hardship and all that. But I thought it was quite prophetic and quite such profound words that a white man, a young white man could say that to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And so when you talk about people of all races, I get that.
Yeah.
Because you can't pigeonhole
No.
people. You cannot pigeonhole people.
No. And I mean, there is good, bad, and indifferent in every colour and creed. And I think also, and I don't know if you experience this as well, Yinka, when I was younger, I was probably ignorant to a lot of stuff that was going on. You don't understand the world as much, but you look back and retrospectively, you look back on periods of your life and you think, maybe that wouldn't have happened now. That kind of thing. I think it's a salient point in terms of looking back and then seeing how we have progressed. Yes, we've still got a way to go, and I understand that. and I'm not naive enough to think we haven't, but from where we were to where we are now, there is progress, and there has been progress.
I concur. I would say that there is progress, but I would still say that it's a bit like a super tanker. The time it takes to turn,
Yes.
it's slower than what we age.
Yeah. And I suppose it's not our generation, or not even the next generation or next two generations will see the benefits of everything that has been, all the hard work that's been put in, again, by all races, all colours, all creeds, all religions. It's probably going to be 2-3 generations down the line that will really feel the benefits even more.
It's interesting you say that, because, and the way you've couched it, because I think the same. I think all we're doing is planting seeds, planting the seeds for the future.
Yeah.
Was there a period in your young life whereby, because of what you were exposed to, what you were encountering, that you were an angry young black man?
Of course, I think every black man, every black woman, probably every Asian man and woman goes through that phase. I think it's how you then tailor it. It's how you use it as fuel in a lot of ways, without stepping over that line where the police come into play as well. And I think that I tried to use that as best as I could. And I go back to a story that my mum always tells me, and it brings, and I might get a bit emotional here, but it brings tears to my eyes every time I hear it. When my mum came over in 57, 58, she trained as a nurse in an area of Tooting Broadway in London.
And Tooting Broadway.
Yeah, she couldn't.
Merton Hospital.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she couldn't find anywhere to live, her and her friend. And this is what I mean about progression. They had on these houses, these boarding houses, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. And that's my mum. And I would be the same for any human being, but that's my mum. That's my mother. And that made me angry, because when I heard the story, when my mum and dad sat me down, not as a young person where it would probably scar me, but when I was old enough to appreciate and understand the struggles, that was something that gave me fuel to try and be successful in whatever I did, whether it was sport, whether it was, even to this day, whether it's comedy, whether it was in my career in recruitment. I used to work in, I used to have a nice career at Sheffield City Council. So every single thing that I did, it probably gave me that fuel, because, as I said earlier, it makes you think that you have to be even better than you need to be.
Again, interesting. What's your take on this? Because I have conversations with family members about the past, in terms of how much should we tell our young'uns about what we've experienced. Is that an importancy if they've not encountered the hostilities, the discriminations, the barriers that we've encountered, that our parents encountered? Should we imbue them and make them aware of it, or what? What's your take?
100%. I think that it's important as a legacy to generations that have struggled to remember what happened and why we are where we are now, and exactly how we got there as well, to how we got to this point now. I think it's very, very important. I think the age, in terms of what year or what age you speak to your offspring about it, probably depends on the individual. But I do think that there is a real place, in terms of family conversations, in terms of heritage conversations, to learn about the history of what happened then to where we are now, and how potentially we're going to move forward.
Okay. What's your take on Black History Month?
You've asked me a loaded question there, Yinka. You didn't prepare me for this.
Not at all, but it's just what you're coming with, and I'm giving it back.
Yeah, no. I'm a big fan of Black History Month, but do you know what? It should be all history 12 months. We need to learn about everything consistently. To pigeonhole it to 1 month, you could say it's a start, but things need to be learned. Lessons need to be learned for the other 11 months as well. And that's not just about the West Indian and the Caribbean heritage. That's all heritages. That's everybody. That's everything. We need to be a source of constant learning. Otherwise, we're never going to move forward again progressively, properly, because we need to know where we were, We need to know where we are now, and we need to know where we're going.
I concur. However, I don't like Black History Month, partly because of some of the points that you've raised there. Why should it be just one month of the year? And I think it needs to be embedded so that we have a more holistic, comprehensive. And I'm not even being outspoken, but I think we need to get away from that small island mentality. Regardless of how dominant Britain was, I think it needs to be an integrated whole. Of let's look at what Asia has contributed globally, etc., and how it's impacted and influenced the world. Let's look at the continent of Africa and why, despite all its ravagednesses, we wouldn't have things like mobile phones and stuff like that because of the rare materials that are there.
Exactly.
No, there's so many things, but there seems to be a hierarchy of what's important and what we should learn.
Yeah, most definitely. And I agree, again, 100% with what you're saying. I think we need to remember where a lot of things have come from and why we are as privileged as we are today.
I think, we do say it, that the UK, the sixth richest nation in the world. So if we're talking 220 countries, they're on top of the ship pile. We're privileged. And if you think how far as a nation we've progressed over the last 50 years in terms of the technology, etc., we're sitting pretty well. And being able to have this conversation as far as we are from each other online and broadcast it to everybody. It speaks volumes.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. And I think I would add to that as well, with us being the sixth richest economy in the world, we still have a massive disparity in the wealth and the poor. And that needs to be closed. And that's through all colours and creeds. Again, I think that I'm not, without getting too political, I am not totally left.
We're going to get political. We're going to get political.
But I'm not totally left. I'd like to think I'm left of centre, but I do think that there is we should be helping others. We should be helping our fellow man, our fellow woman, and we need to do more.
I heard a stat this week which said that 50 families in the UK own 50% of the wealth.
Yeah. Frightening.
It's scary.
It is.
It is scary.
That's the disparity that I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And my ears did prick when you were speaking about that in your introduction, because effectively what I read between the lines was, there's a man who likes to pay it forward, give back, give back, give back. You've said that you're, what is it? Right of centre, left of centre?
Left of centre,
Left of centre. So politically, who's waving the flag for you? Who would you subscribe to? Do not say reform.
No. Do you know what? At the moment,
I'm just joking.
For the first time in my life, Yinka, I think I'm as near as, damn it, apolitical as I'm going to get. Because I think that there's a real ambiguity now with what's going on and what parties, what do they stand for. I'm a product of the 70s. I grew up in the 70s. My dad was a shop steward. My dad was a working class Labour man. And so was my mum as a nurse, a working class Labour woman. I knew what Labour stood for back in the 70s for the working person. Now, I think it's so ambiguous that we've all got this apathy. We don't really care anymore because everything's morphed into one. Yes, you've got the extremes of reform. I get all of that. But most of the mainstream parties are all morphing into one. And for me, as I said, I'm as apolitical as I'm probably going to get at the moment, where I don't, as a Labour man and a Labour member from back in the day, I don't know where I would put my membership towards or stick my flag towards now.
Okay, I'm just going to put you on the spot now. There's a snap election tomorrow. Who do you vote for?
If it's a snap election tomorrow, as it stands now, I still would vote for the Labour Party, because the principles of my mum and dad, and I remember my dad as a Labour member saying, and it's not a case of you're totally influenced by your parents, but it rings an endorsement in my head that my dad said if a donkey was running as a Labour leader, he'd still vote for the donkey. So maybe, I guess without getting too big, maybe we've got a donkey at the moment, but I'd still vote for the donkey.
Okay.
What about you, Yinka? Where can I throw that back at you?
No, of course not.
It's your
No,
show.
you can. It's a hard one. My values are Labour, but Labour's not the party that I once grew up with.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. I
Yeah.
think I think even the biases that we witness in the media, who controls the media, controls the narrative.
Yeah.
And we already know how can you ever build what have I got in common with a billionaire newspaper owner?
Exactly.
I've got
No.
nothing in common with that person.
No.
But I know what they want to espouse. I
Yeah.
know the tactics that they want to employ to fragment communities that have got fuck all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they do it amongst white communities, they do it amongst black communities, they do it amongst brown communities,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just manipulative.
Of
And
course it is.
I think what we've lost over time is that critical inquiry.
Yeah.
To say, Daniel, is what you're saying actually true?
Yeah.
Let me look at the facts now.
Yeah.
Or let me recall what you said 6 months, a year ago, and who you voted for then, or you've sidled with then.
Yeah.
We've lost all that.
I think the other thing with that, Yinka, is that until we start making manifestos law and in terms of being signed off as a legal document, you're always going to get flip-flopping in politics where people will say what they need to say to get in. And then when they do move a goalpost, it's not our fault. The previous government did this, or 3 governments ago did that. And there's no accountability. So it would make, I would think, manifestos and campaigns study the facts first before they actually say anything, because there'd be that element of accountability because it's a legal document. And until you get that, until you start getting that, you're going to get flip-flopping politicians and politics anyway, because no matter what anybody says, you have still got career politicians who just want to get in for the notoriety, for the fame, for the career, and for their, as Andy Warhol would say, their 15 minutes of fame.
Absolutely. And then for the after-dinner speeches.
Exactly. Because, as you said, the legacy of a politician afterwards is probably even better than being a politician. Being a politician is a stepping stone to bigger and
gateway. It's a gateway, yeah.
Yeah,
I think for me, and I'd love listeners, viewers to look at this. There was a guy on Open University many, many moons ago, probably about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, by the name, from the Caribbean, I think he's from Trinidad, called Stuart Hall.
Right.
I don't know if you'd ever remember him. And he came up with something, and please, listeners, viewers, check this out. He come up with a manifesto with a couple of other people called the Kilburn Manifesto.
Right.
And it covered all strata of society in terms of housing, education, equality, women's rights, etc., etc. And sadly, he died in 13, 14. But this guy was a professor, and I had the privilege of meeting him anyway. He espoused what I believed in.
Yeah.
He espoused. And I think, where are those heroes now?
Yeah, great question. I don't know. If someone's got the answer who's listening or watching, tell us, because we should be pushing them forward.
We should be. And we should be pushing them forward and supporting them.
Yeah,
anyway,
most definitely.
That's my party political broadcast. And we hear Locker. What gets you down?
Quite a few things. Negativity gets me down. I think I'm not saying we should put a positive spin on every single thing or every single aspect of life, but I think there are people who are perennial naysayers, and that gets me down, because I think if we surrounded ourselves with as much positivity as possible, realistic positivity, not airy-fairy stuff, pie-in-the-sky stuff, but if we surround ourselves with enough positivity, I genuinely believe that the universe gives it back, and we can do great things with positivity. We can do great things with a positive mindset. But you're always going to get naysayers, and those naysayers will try and bring those who are positive down as well. And that really gets me down, because I think, what's your agenda at the end of the day? What is your agenda to listen? People have got the right to be who they want to be and how they want to be.
100%.
But if you're then bringing somebody down to a level that maybe they're not at yet, because, so for instance, I'll give you an example. If someone's got a great business idea and they're so passionate about it, and maybe the idea is a little bit up in the air, it might need tweaking a little bit, and they speak to a few friends, and you're going to get a couple of, oh, don't start that at this time of the year, don't start that in this economy. Oh no, it won't work. You're not meant for business. You're not built for business. That, for me, as a naysayer, would be, it's catastrophic. It's devastating for somebody, because who knows where that person could go. As long as look, we all make mistakes, and if someone makes a mistake and they learn from it, or mistakes plural, and they learn from those mistakes, then what harm have they done? It's better to actually try something than regret something you haven't.
100%.
As I say, those people who have got that negative slant to them, listen, be negative in your own house, be negative in your own space, but please, please, please don't try and bring people down who are trying to achieve in whatever capacity. Please don't try and mock somebody for having an idea or for having a creative stroke of genius, because you just never know.
Absolutely. But this isn't with Devilman. But the question is, what was your take on the Union Jacks being put up on lampposts, etc.? How did you feel?
Well, do you know what? When I heard about it, I must say I haven't seen anything like that in Sheffield or the surrounding areas. So I don't know if it's certain areas or certain pockets of the country. I haven't seen it in Sheffield. I haven't seen it in South Yorkshire. And I haven't seen it in West Yorkshire. But when I heard about it and I saw it on telly, it's disappointing. It is disappointing, because I also think, let's ask those people who are putting them on roundabouts or on fences or whatever, why are you doing that? What's the meaning behind you doing that? Now, maybe I don't want to hear the answer, because maybe the answer is going to scare me, but I want to know why people are doing that at that time. It's like, we need to take our country back. Well, is the country lost? Then if it's lost, maybe you are part of a reason for it being lost.
Okay. Have you ever felt, as a result of that, or even previously, afraid, or to the extent that maybe this country isn't for me anymore, maybe I need to go back?
No, not at all. Not at all, Yinka. And I hope I never do, if I'm to be brutally honest. I've never thought that. I'm a born and bred Yorkshireman, and colour doesn't come into it. Heritage comes into it, because, as I said before, we need to remember where we've come from. But I'm as Yorkshire as the man in Barnsley with the stereotypical flat cap and whippet. I am as Yorkshire as that person. So for me, there was never, I would hope there'd never be an instance where, if I thought that the country wasn't for me, it would probably be more for economic reasons rather than anything else. It wouldn't be because of any kind of right-wing race hate or race war or anything like that, because I'm as Yorkshire, I'm as English, I'm as British, I'm as European as the next man or woman that was born here.
Okay. Would you ever wave the Union Jack?
Oh, this loaded question number 15. Right, okay. Yinka's telling me, yes, there's another 30 loaded questions to go.
Number 44.
Yeah, that's a great question. Would I ever waive it? Well, all right, I'll give you the answer to that. I've never waived it in the past. That doesn't make me non-patriotic, by the way. Because I'm not a flag waver. I'm not anyone that I've never waved the Barbados flag.
Okay.
So that's where my parents are from. I've never, and I love my cricket. I absolutely love my cricket.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah, well,
that was my next question. Go on.
I grew up when
is this a Tablet rule?
Well, do you know what? I grew up watching a very good West Indies side, because my dad used to take test matches.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
West
really,
Indies
really good.
side.
And I never waved the West Indies flag, and my dad never. So I'm not a flag waver. So whether I would in the future, it would probably be a change of personality, a personality shift for me to do that. because I've never done it in the past. So yeah, that's probably my answer.
Okay, but I want your second answer. West Indies plays England cricket, the T20 final.
Yeah.
Who are you edging for?
Well, because I've grown up watching the West Indies, the great Viv Richards, Clive Lloyd, Malcolm Marshall, God
Absolutely.
rest his soul, Gordon Greenidge, Desmond Haynes, yes, I'd be a West Indies fan. And you know what? Nobody can take the mickey. Well, they can take the mickey out of me for the fact that the West Indies aren't very good at the moment. They're not good at
No.
all. And
It's a cycle.
yeah, it is. It is. So I've supported them through thick and thin. I supported them late 70s when they won the World Cup twice in the space of 8 years. I've supported them when they had the great test teams with, as I say, with Curtly Ambrose, Courtney Walsh. And now I'm still supporting them when they're arguably the 8th or 9th best team in the world. And that's, I think I'm being generous there.
I just paused then and put my head down because you just said Malcolm Marshall, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not a superstar fucker in any stretch of the imagination, but I once went to Antigua.
Yeah.
And I was on a catamaran, and Malcolm Marshall was on that catamaran with me.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Were you all starstruck?
I wasn't. I was on the catamaran. I was just lying down, and I actually dozed off, you know?
Yeah.
But it was just, I just remember, you just made me.
I'm jealous because he was one of my sporting heroes. I used to play cricket to a decent-ish level, and Malcolm Marshall was one of my sporting heroes, the way he used to think about the game. Vivian Richards was another of my heroes as well. So I'm jealous that you got to see him, you got to share that moment, because I probably would have been up there like a lapdog sports fan trying to get autographs and all sorts, and probably annoying him to the point where he was going to put a restraining order on me.
I think who we had from the, Caribbean, West Indian legend, we had in Lancashire, Clive Lloyd.
Yeah.
One of the proper gentlemen.
A real gentleman, one of the greatest captains ever. A real visionary as well. A real visionary. He was the one that really set the pace in terms of how the West Indies cricket moved forward. And I actually feel sorry for that generation, that it seems as though T20 cricket and earning money has sort of spoiled West Indies cricket, in the sense of we're not as caring about Test cricket. And I'm a purist in a lot of ways. I love my Test cricket. And I think now it's a case of, well, and I understand that all sports, men and women, have to earn as much money as they can in a short space of time.
In a short period, yeah.
Yeah, but again, the forefathers that made West Indies cricket great, I think we still, or they do as players, the current crop, or something to what they built.
When was the last time you went home to the land of your mothers and fathers?
It was 6 years ago. I went for 5 years ago. I went for my 50th. I went for my 50th, the 3 weeks in Barbados. It was brilliant. I got to see family, friends, and it was in the height of COVID, to be honest with you, as well. It was
happy days.
Yes, it was a weird experience because they had a curfew that everyone had to be in by 11 o'clock. And that was great because that meant that I wasn't actually rolling out of a nightclub at 3:30 in the morning. So it was all right in that respect. But it was just so lovely to go back, because I think there was a 5-year gap again since the last time or before that I'd been to Barbados. So to go for my 50th and my mum went with me as well, and a few members of family were there and what have you. And it was great. It was brilliant.
You've mentioned your mum there, and it feels like she's been solid for you throughout your 55 years and that.
Yeah.
What has family meant to you? And I say this, and it's not loaded, it's not couched in any way, but this external perception about single parent households, this, that, and the other, yada, yada, and all I'm asking is, what was life for you with your father, with your mum, with your sister?
Absolutely fantastic. My dad, as most West Indian guys of that generation, was a strong disciplinarian. It was all about...
So did you get beat?
I certainly did. I got the belt a couple of times, and you learn quickly. And I think it was one of those that the strong discipline was a really, really good thing. But there was a lot of love. My mum and dad supported me with everything. Sorry, Yinka, go on.
No, go on. I'm listening.
I was just saying that they supported me with everything, every endeavour. I was into my sports. I was into my football, my cricket. And my dad used to coach me. He used to take me all over the place. My mum used to make sure I had all the kit and caboodle. I'm not saying I was privileged, but I was as near as damn it. Yeah, I was privileged.
No, we were privileged.
I was privileged in that respect because they gave me every single opportunity. But that came with a caveat, and that caveat was that you learn, you're respectful. Application. You're respectful, not just to your elders and your peers, but to everybody. Do not show disrespect unless disrespect is shown to you. Turn the other cheek, walk away, but defend yourself when you had to defend yourself.
Interesting you saying that, because I was with a client yesterday in his early 40s, and he said to me, he's never thrown a punch in his life. He's never had a fight in his life. And I sat there reflecting on how lucky he was.
Yeah.
Not to know what that is like.
Yeah.
And I just think about the gauntlets that I, as an individual, as a black man growing up in Liverpool, how I've had to fight through those gauntlets all the time, you know. And I dare say you have as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I only ever really had one or two school fights, but there was always the tension when I left school, when you underage drinking and you've discovered girls and there's things going on and there's gangs of boys and things happen. Things do happen. But it was back in an age where, I'm not condoning this, but it was back in the day where it was a fair fight. There were never any weapons. There was never any of this stamping on somebody's head when the man was down. It was a case of, it was a fist fight, and 9 times out of 10, you'd see that same person in town or in a bar in a few weeks' time, and you'd have a drink with them because the beef was done. So in terms of that, it was a different world to what we have now, which is very, very scary, because you knock a drink over, you don't even, and you say sorry, you're apologetic. You might go and buy that person a drink to replace it. You don't know what that person's going to do what they've got in their pocket, and that's a scary thing.
Do you have children?
Not that I know of.
Okay, is that a conscious thing?
It was. I always had, up until I was 30, this life kind of goal of having 2.4 children and a dog called Rover and a wife and a nice house. I was very driven in my career in recruitment. I worked in recruitment for near enough 20 years, and I was very driven. It was about, and wrongly so, I look back in hindsight, it was all about the money, the prestige, having a nice company car when a company car was an actual perk, having a nice company car, and having those foundations. I had a partner at the time, and I was 23, 24. And I was one of those late developers in terms of, I didn't leave home till quite late. I didn't leave home properly until I left home, but then came back until I was like 22, 23. And I always thought, right, this next 8 years, I'm going to set the foundation. I'm going to set myself up. I'm going to be by 30. I'm going to have a couple of kids. I'm going to have a lovely wife. I'm going to have, as I say, a nice Yorkshire Terrier and a nice car and a nice dog. A nice house. When that didn't happen, Yinka, do you know what? I wasn't upset or disappointed. I didn't just move the goalpost and say, right, I'm 30 now and I still haven't. I'm going to wait until I'm 40. I'm going to set it to 35. I'm going to set it to 40. When it didn't happen, it didn't happen. And then when I got to 40 and I saw some of my peer age group having kids and having considerably more grey hairs back then than I have now, then I thought, you know what? I'm not saying I dodged a bullet. I think I'd have loved to have had kids, but it wasn't, after that time, it wasn't something that burdened me.
And so, has that boat sailed then for you?
Probably, because I think we've talked about the world as it is now, and I don't know if I would feel comfortable bringing kids into the world now. As I said, it's a tough world. And I thought it might have been tough back then, but I think we had it easier back then to bring kids up. Yeah, in comparison. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. If only we knew back then what we know now, we'd all be lottery billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires.
Of
But
course.
I think to myself, it'd be very, very difficult now, even as a wise 54, 55-year-old, which I like to think I am. My friends and my peers will probably say different, but I think it would be very, very difficult now. I really do.
Turning in now into the Hurt Locker,
Mhm.
talking about mental health,
Yeah.
talking about specifically Black mental health.
Yeah.
What has been your experience of people you've known, of your peers, of yourself?
It's been tough. It's been one of the things that stood out for me, Yinka, was my mum being a nurse and my mum always saying to me that back then they used to do 6 months on different wards. They used to rotate around, and when my mum worked in casualty for 6 months, I saw the angst on my mum's face coming home, and you'd ask what was going on. She'd ask, "How's my girlfriend back then? Are you all right?" And I used to think, mum's asking a lot of questions about these things, and as a teenager and a bashful 20-something, you don't really want to open up to your mum about stuff, about girls anyway. But she was asking me for a reason, and she told me, she said, "Do you know what, Daniel, I've seen in casualty a lot of young men," and she said a lot of Black men as well, who have come in, tried to commit suicide because the relationship's gone wrong. There's maybe infidelity in the relationship, or they've not seen the relationship finishing. They've not seen that coming. And she said that to me that it was kind of a top-heavy Black boy kind of thing, rather than. And I'm sure there was white lads that were affected by breakups, but I don't know whether my mum was zoned in because it was Black boys, and she always related it to her own son, thinking, "I hope I'd never see my son come in here." And that, to me, had a profound effect on relationships, for one, and for my peers as well, who have had breakups as well, and painful breakups. And I'm also, just to add to that, Yinka, I'm talking about breakups that were not their fault. I'm not saying that every man, every Black man, white man, Asian man, Oriental guy
Is a
is
player.
never at fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys, if they've done that and that's come to them, like, you've got to hold your hands up and say, "Well, I deserve what I got." But I'm talking about those guys that, when my mum talked to them and the guys were in peril, or tried to commit suicide and being rushed in, and my mum talked to them and found out that these lads have been in relationships, they've not seen the breakup coming, or there was infidelity and they didn't see it coming. There's that male pride thing, isn't there? That, do you know what? Alpha male wise, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, but alpha male wise, it's very, very hard to come back from when you don't see it coming or something's happened like that.
And I think part and parcel of that is both pride and ego.
Yeah, most
You know?
definitely. Most definitely.
Have you yourself struggled with your mental health?
Yeah, I have, and it's happened through, ironically enough, breakups where I didn't see it coming, and it was totally out of the blue, especially when you think that something is going well and you think something's all right. And that may be, back then in my 20s and 30s, that might have been a lack of emotional intelligence on my part, in terms of not seeing signs, of not seeing unhappiness, not caused by anything domestically, not caused by a third party, but a relationship that's finished, you don't see it coming. And the bounce back kind of thing on the back of that has sometimes taken me a long time. And again, I'm a massive advocate of counselling. I really, really am.
I
And
do. What's to me about that?
I'm a massive advocate. I've had it. I've had counselling, and I wax lyrical about it. I go around telling people that counselling is a show of strength, not weakness. And I've had it. Yeah, and it worked $1 million for me. It really, really did. And I don't know if it's that talking to a stranger, opening up more, because you think, well, I'm never likely to see you out in a pub, but you're never going to hit me back with these stories again, or this conversation again, and that sort of client therapist confidentiality thing, or part of it. But I've had that, and I've thought, you know what, this has been absolutely amazing, really, really has. And I have to say that an old boss of mine, well, not old in age, I mean old in time, from a way back, and I want to name her as well because she was absolutely fantastic. A young lady called Cheryl Comanche.
Cheryl Comanche.
Yeah. And Cheryl was absolutely fantastic in helping me. She was my direct boss, and she put me forward for some counselling, and it was a deal maker. It really, really was. And I've got to thank her for that because she spotted signs, not signs that I was going to do anything silly or do anything daft to myself.
Okay, you say do anything silly or do anything daft to yourself. We're talking about suicide here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Used to be clear.
Yeah, and I think she just saw that the fact that, and this isn't me blowing smoke up my own passage, but she saw a gregarious person who was quite outgoing and quite effervescent and quite extroverted in terms of my behavior and my work and everything. And then she saw a difference in terms of a real kind of quietness and a real kind of opposite introverted nature.
An insular.
Yeah.
I was going to say, then, what was the catalyst for that then? When she suggested it or proposed it to you, was there a reticence on your behalf? Or were you at that point whereby you said, I'll take anything to get me out of this hole that I'm in?
It opened a new world. There wasn't a reticence. There was a sort of, well, I've never thought of that before. And I'm the kind of person that will try things. I'm not a kind of person that'll say, well, I'm not trying that because it's not a man thing to do. It's not a person thing to do. It's not a black man thing to do. I would try. And she was not insistent. She was amazing in the sense of it was softly catchy monkey. It was little bit. It wasn't, I think you need this and I think you will benefit from that. Her tone and her way of approaching and broaching the subject with me was amazing. And it's testimony to her personality as well.
Brilliant. For me as a therapist, I don't see enough black males. I don't, and I wish more black males would engage in therapeutic support.
Yeah.
I really, really do. I think we've still got to get over this machismo of the black community keeps stum.
Yeah.
We internalize it. No. The body keeps the score and it will manifest itself in other ways if you're not able to purge what's going on within yourself.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think also we've got that with black men still reticent in going to see a GP, going to see a doctor about anything. And my dad, first generation West Indian, he was a prime example of that. He always used to say he didn't want to go to a doctor's because a rum or a whiskey would sort it out. Whatever it was, a rum or a whiskey would sort it. And if you needed a second one, then the second one will definitely sort it. And I think it's that generation that sometimes it's passed on to the next few generations where, do you really need a doctor? Can you not sort it out yourself? And whether that doctor is a GP or a therapist, you're right. You are bang on the money that we need to be. We need to have a little bit more in terms of expanded thinking. We need to have that kind of lateral thinking where we're open to actually utilizing these services.
You yourself personally, have you ever lost anybody to suicide?
Yep. And quite a few in recent years. 1, 2, 3 people in the last 4 years.
Wow. Were they predominantly men?
All 3 men, all 3 between the ages of 40 and 50, 51.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you spot the signs? Or was it a shock?
No, it was a real shock. It was one of them was a fellow comedian friend of mine, based here in Sheffield. And the shock with him was we all thought he had it all. A fantastic wife, 2 brilliant kids, a fantastic job, and a bloody good comic as well. So, yes, we never know what goes on between the ears of anybody, but that was a massive shock. The other 2, a lot of turmoil going on. Some of it was quite open, but again, that machismo to a certain degree, maybe I'm all right kind of thing. Don't worry about me. And then us not really spotting any signs in terms of really asking the correct questions at the correct time. But yeah, really, really sad, really sad. And all in that age group, 2 in their 40s and 1, I think it would have been 51, 52 at the time.
Okay, so we're talking about those peak areas. Primarily, it's between 45 and 59 for men.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And a statement I'm going to make now, the research shows, and I deliver this in training with my colleagues, and that if you've been bereaved and are affected by suicide, then you are 80 to 300% more likely to go on and die by suicide than the general population.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so my question underneath that is, would you go back to therapy?
If necessary, most definitely, there would be no hesitation whatsoever, because I know it's worked in the past and there's no reason why I would think it wouldn't work in the future. And I would endorse it. I would recommend it to anyone, but you've got to practice what you preach. So yes, I would.
100%. Those were 3 people who you knew. One you knew really closely in that.
Yeah.
How does that network then support itself? How does that network look out for each other and step in and check in on each other to say, are you all right, Daniel? Does it do that?
It does. And I think it's like any form of relationship, whether it's with your spouse, whether it's with your mum and dad, whether it's with your siblings, whether it's with your friends, it's all about communication. And it's always about open communication. We all can give the platitudes that we're always there for anybody. You've got to show it. You've got to prove it.
You've got to reach in. You've got to reach in. You've got to ask those what may feel uncomfortable questions.
Exactly.
But you need to ask those questions.
Exactly. I'm very fortunate that I have an absolutely fantastic network of close friends. And I don't know about you, Yinka, but I don't get this where people say, oh, I've got 30 friends, I've got 40 friends, I've got 50 friends. I've probably got about 3 or 4 friends. I've got about 250,000 acquaintances.
Absolutely.
But I've got about 3 or 4 friends that I can hang my hat on and say, you know what? They would be there for me no matter what, because I know I will be there for them no matter what. And I could ring them at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. They know that can be reciprocated. And I think that is important. Open, honest communication is a real big thing for me in any walk of life, but especially when somebody is at their lowest ebb. And by the way, that's open to males or females as well. But I know there's a massive problem with us men. But I do believe that I think that we can learn a lot from the fairer sex. I really do, because
100%.
Because I always see that when something goes wrong with the fairer sex, there's a sisterhood there that always tends to, let's get everyone together, let's talk about this. Whereas us men, not all the time, but predominantly, let's go to the pub and get absolutely shredded. And then that problem's going to go away tomorrow. No, it isn't. I'm going to go and get shredded again.
Absolutely. So you remain stuck. And it's not a coincidence that, therefore, in saying, backing up what you say, that men are 3 times more likely to die by suicide than women.
Yep.
3 times more likely. So maybe we need to turn our lens and look at, what's the sisterhood doing?
Yeah.
We talk about having our friends and blah, 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 predominantly men. But they're failing us in some respects, or we're failing each other in some respects, if we can't have these honest and open and transparent conversations.
Yeah.
Just one thing to add to that. I think 7,158 people died by suicide last year. Okay?
Yeah.
That's 20 people a day.
Oh,
God. But of that, right, 3/4 were not known to mental health services, flying under the radar.
Yeah.
Suffering in silence.
I'm aghast at those figures. I really am. And I actually think that evolution's a great thing, but we haven't, as men, we've not evolved that much from our caveman brothers in terms of it's better to keep these things in. It's better to sort myself out. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody cares. We've got to get away from that thinking. We've got to get away from that because so many lives can be saved by reaching out, but we have to have the courage to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there's a flip side to that.
Mm.
The accessibility.
Yeah.
Accessibility is important.
Yeah.
And I suppose, you know, therapy's worked for you. You sat with your therapist in a room and all that. But I think also as well, it's how we engage in conversations. Sometimes it could be playing snooker, playing darts, playing football, playing cricket.
Yeah.
We need to be able to engage in a more effective manner.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt. I can't disagree with you one jot with anything you say there, because having experienced the shock of hearing that somebody, listen, if I hear about anybody committing suicide, but when it's that close to home, and again, when it's people that are either your age or even younger, that just makes it such a bitter, bitter pill. Because I think, and we all, I remember when one of the lads who committed suicide, a few of us met in the local pub because he was a local lad and he used to come drinking with us. And I remember that we all met in the pub and we all made sort of a pact that we would all be there for each other. And our phones will always be on all the time. But as I said before, platitudes are great. And I want to know that people are making sure, if you don't hear from somebody after a period of time, now that's subjective how long that period of time should be. Why aren't we ringing in? Why aren't we actually asking, how are you? Are you okay?
Daniel, okay. So in your phone book today, after the Hair Locker recording, I want you to ring 2 people.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just have a conversation. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all.
I would do that. I will do that. And and it'll be 2 people that I probably haven't spoken to for a while as well. And listen, he who's without sin can cast that first stone.
Absolutely.
And I probably am as guilty as the next person where I think, you know what, I'll look at it now. And this exercise is invaluable because I'll look at my phone and I'll think, I had spoken to him for about 4 months. I haven't spoken to him for about a year.
Yeah.
And you're right. And I will do that.
You know what? We haven't even spent time talking about your comedy and that.
Okay.
And I want to get you back on here.
I'd love
to talk about more of this, but about your comedy as well. And my God, I've got questions already thinking in advance about that one. I've questions already.
Oh my goodness. I don't know whether I'm excited. It's probably a combination of both. I don't know if I'm excited or scared, Yinka.
I've got questions.
I would love to come back on. This has been unbelievable. Do you know what? This has been like a really brilliant therapy session in itself.
Thank you.
It's been absolutely fantastic. It really, really has. And you're brilliant. Tim's brilliant. I'd love to come back on. In fact, I'm going to plead to come back on.
I knew from the get-go that the energy I was already feeling off you, that this was going to be good. This was going to be good. Question. And you can only pick one person.
Okay.
Who's the most important person in your life?
My mother. Don't even have to think about that.
I know. But
I will.
Can
I just go into that a little bit? Go on then.
I'll give you that. Go on.
Okay. My mum is 91 years of age, and
yes.
This isn't massively public in the sense of not everybody knows, but a lot of people do know. My mum's got mixed dementia. And my sister, who lives in London, Beverly, and myself, we've always wanted to give back to our mum and dad. I lost my dad in 2013, or our dad, Bev and myself, our dad, and our mum has just been an unbelievable rock. And when she was diagnosed with mixed dementia 2 and a bit years ago, and thankfully, touch wood, it is slow progressing. She still lives independently, but she has carers in. And even now, in moments of unbelievable clarity, she's still caring and wanting to know about others' well-being and welfare. And that's testimony to the human being that she is.
Okay. And you know what? I'm not going to say anything to that then. I'm not going to continue with anything. I'll give you that.
Okay.
I'll give you that. Okay, last final thing.
Mhm.
Have you had tea tonight? Have you had your dinner tonight?
You know, I just had something light. I just had some cheese and crackers. I just fancied something light. Because
Very Yorkshire-ish. Yes, go on, continue. Not.
I love cooking, but I just felt tonight, you know what? I'm just going to have something nice and light, and maybe I'll have something light again. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it's been good.
Okay. So we finished recording.
Okay.
You close your laptop. You sit down on your sofa, put on the telly, and there's a knock at the door, and it's 11-year-old Daniel.
Mhm.
What do you say to him?
I say keep living, keep striving, keep being respectful, and never give in.
Daniel Inniss, you've been a brilliant guest on the Hurt Locker. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
You're going to be coming back soon, that's for sure.
Been my pleasure.
The Hurt Locker is a safe space for our guests to openly share their mental health experiences. If you have been affected by any of the content in this recording, then please reach out for support. If it is an emergency, dial 999. If you would like to talk to somebody today, then please call the Samaritans on 116 123. Stay safe. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Hurt Locker. Please give us a rating or share with another listener. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Hurt Locker Pod.